To make a box and whisker plot, the first thing you need to do is order your data from least to greatest. That is already done for us if you look at these numbers. After the numbers are in order, the next thing we need to do is find the median, which means the middle number. In this case, our median is going to be between 87 and 91. One way to figure out what number is halfway between those two is to add them up and divide them by 2. If I add them up, I get 178, divide that by 2, and I get 89 as my median. Put a circle around your median. The next step is to find the upper and lower quartiles. The lower quartile is the median of the lower half of the data. In this case, it's going to fall between 84 and 86, which would be 85. I'm going to label that LQ for lower quartile. We do the same on the upper half. The median, or middle, of the upper half would be between 96 and 97. So that's 96.5. Label that UQ for upper quartile. So far we've come up with 3 of the 5 dots we need in order to make our box and whisker plot. The next step is to find the IQR. It stands for interquartile range. If you take the upper quartile minus the lower quartile, you get 11.5. That's the interquartile range. Now what we need to do is we need to test to see if there are any outliers in this data. We take our interquartile range and multiply it by 1.5. It's always 1.5. When we do that, we get 17.25. Now what that tells us is that from our lower quartile, we can go back or subtract 17.25 before it becomes an outlier. So if I take 85 minus 17.25, I get 67.75. That is called our lower limit on outliers. Anything smaller than that number would be an outlier. So if we look at our data, 61 is smaller than 67.75, so that would be an outlier. We mark an outlier with a star. Now, our lower extreme is our smallest number in our data set, with the exception of an outlier. If there's an outlier, our lower extreme is going to be the next smallest number. So in this case, 84 is going to be our LE, lower extreme. Now we do the same thing on the upper end. From the upper quartile, we can go out 17.25, which is the same as adding 17.25. If we do that, we get 113.75. If we look at our data set, there are no numbers greater than 113.75. So 98 would be our upper extreme. It's the biggest number in the data set unless there's an outlier. As you can see, we have 5 dots, 5 circled numbers. That's what we need to make our box and whisker plot. So now we draw a number line, and we need to make sure our number line goes from our smallest number to our greatest number, from 61 to 98. I'm going to make mine go from 60 up to 100. I'm going to count by tens, but I am going to put a mark in between them that represents the 5s in between. The final step is drawing the box and whisker plot. We should have 5 dots that make up the plot, plus any stars for any outliers. So at 61, I'm going to put a star. The outlier does not get connected to the rest of the box and whisker plot. Then I need to put a dot at 84, because that's our lower extreme. A dot at 85, that's our lower quartile. 89, our median. 96.5, our upper quartile. And 98, our upper extreme. You connect the 5 dots with a line. The middle 3 are where the boxes go. That is our box and whisker plot. Make sure that the outlier is not connected to the rest of the box and whiskers.